Now, we have seen an increase in deadly terror attacks here at home since the war with Iran began. But now we are learning about a whole new kind of threat. And this time it is putting the lives of our senior White House officials in serious jeopardy. Why do I say that? Multiple unidentified drones were detected above Fort McNair Army Base in Washington, D.C. That's the same base where Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary, War Secretary Pete Hegseth live along with other senior White House officials. You can see why this is a big deal. We don't know who sent the drones. We don't know why they were sent. We do know how scary this is. We do know the unknown could be very deadly. That's why I want to bring in former CIA officer and drone pilot, by the way, Tracy Walder, former Secret Service agent who conducted airspace security operations, Paul Eckloff. Perfect guest to talk about this. Tracy, how big of a concern is this?
You know, I think it is a big concern. It's less of a concern. I don't think that the Iran military has Shaheds just sort of hanging out in the United States. I think the bigger concern is what are called these COTS drones or commercial off-the-shelf drones. So drones that nefarious actors or bad actors can purchase and then fly at sort of a whim. I think that is the bigger threat, in my opinion. I think we need to move away from this idea that Iran's drones can essentially reach the U.S. They can't. But it is a threat. And I think the even bigger threat is that the U.S. at this point, this occurred over the past week and a half, still hasn't been able to identify where these drones come from. So that's a problem also in our internal detection system.
Tracy, just to follow up on that, what's an example you mean? Someone could just buy a drone easily, put something on it, and and what could they put on it? And B, how hard is it to actually fly one of those and do whatever you want to do with it?
I hate to sound flippant, it's not difficult. This is what a lot of times we see with the cartels, quite frankly. The cartels don't use these militarized drones. They're using somewhat primitive drones that are relatively cheap that you can purchase online. You can, I don't want to give people too many ideas, but obviously you can attach explosives, things of that nature to these drones. You're not going to do a tremendous amount of damage, but you absolutely can
Right.
do damage and create a situation that's quite frankly scary to people.
Paul, is Secret Service prepared to handle this?
I would say while the drones represent a serious threat, they're not new to the Secret Service. They do represent a persistent and asymmetric threat that security forces have confronted. And in the Secret Service, we were exploring nearly 20 years ago. The threat capability from drones has increased. It's reported that there's approximately 1 million recreational drones registered with the FAA in the United States. What has changed is their weaponization and their payload capacity. But even beyond their use for explosions or introducing packages into a protective site, what's even more powerful for an adversary is the intelligence that they can gain from an aerial perspective to map out security forces and plan future action.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, reconnaissance. I guess the question is, without maybe giving too much away, but it's up to you, do we have the technology to track them, right, to see them before they come into a certain area and take them down, Paul?
Absolutely. The Secret Service, the FAA, NORAD, the airspace over DC is the most monitored airspace in the world. While the airspace is primarily designed to be defended from large commercial aircraft or even general aviation and be interdicted, a drone can be detected. The frequencies that they use can be detected, but these things can be set it and forget it. They can be launched and GPS flown. They can be flown by first-person view through goggles. And while they can be detected, you could launch it out of the back of your car, do surveillance for 5 minutes and have it back in your vehicle and leave the site, or even fly them over a great distance. If they start inside your protected perimeter, you have very little time to detect and even less to interdict.
Tracy, I'm going to tell you, this is a very juvenile question, but I really don't know, so I'm going to throw it to you. You said you can't track them, like you can't track who purchases them. Is there any way, or you tell me if there should be a system put in place where you can track everybody who purchases a drone, maybe not every drone, but ones that have capability of flying a great distance and maybe for a long period of time? Is there any process put in place by which federal authorities can track the purchase of drones and where they're going and who's using them?
Well, listen, they are supposed to be registered right by the FAA, but I don't think that a lot of them are, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that nefarious actors are doing the right thing and are registering these, obviously, with the FAA. That makes it really difficult to track. But this isn't, sort of like guns and those kinds of things with serial numbers and tracking. Not all of them have this. And so, I hate to sort of sound pessimistic here, but it is probably virtually impossible to really be able to track those ones that are available just off the shelf.
Paul, how is it possible that you can have these drones over Fort McNair?
Well, it's possible because you have to consider also that drones are pretty ubiquitous in their use for recreation, with Haines Point across the street, across the water, and Fort McNair is nestled right across from Anacostia, where HMX-1 is based, the White House, and various exclusion zones in the airspace. So in a recent study over a 45-day period in D.C., over 100 drones were identified. So it's not a new threat. They've been seen in D.C. before, but when you do the timing of it at night, that kind of rules out commercial drones, and it's less likely to be recreational. So it's more likely that somebody was launching something to look around. I would not ascribe terrorist ideals behind these particular drones, or I don't find this particularly stunning as a news item. However, it raises the specter that this is possible. It makes it more likely here, and I'm hoping that it acts as a sort of a canary in the coal mine for law enforcement in D.C. to take this threat seriously and start deploying better technology to stop these drones.
I'm glad you don't think it's a news item. I'm glad you don't think it's a threat, because I'm nervous. Tracy, what would be the technology available to disable them, and how easily?
So here's the problem. Again, I don't think that I have been talking about drones being a threat for decades, right? Like this is not.
No one was listening to you. No one was listening to Tracy.
I totally agree with that perspective, but the problem is we are constantly playing catch up, because sometimes don't wake up to these threats until, in my opinion, it's far too late, or we are very reactionary rather than proactive in terms of what we are doing. We have seen the directed energy weapons that they're deploying out of El Paso. Those are obviously not that effective, right? It misidentified a Mylar balloon. It also misidentified a friendly drone as well. Also, there is a layered defense that they can do. They can do electronic warfare and jam up some of the signals, which is as well. But from an internal perspective, we don't have a great way to combat these, and they can be difficult to see on radar.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.